Hello everyone! I'm going to share with you how I give my leftover mashed potatoes a new life. I'm making potato pancakes. I'm going to share with you the recipe and how I do it. Are you ready? Let's get started. These are the ingredients that I'm going to be using. I have some mashed potatoes here, about a couple of cups. I also have my salt, some pepper, garlic powder. I have an egg. I have some green onion from my garden, and then I also have some cheese. I'm using sharp cheddar cheese. So in my bowl, I'm going to put my leftover mashed potatoes. Now, the other day, I had made a baked chicken dinner that I shared on the vlog, and in the description box below, if you haven't seen that, I'll put that link in the description box below so you can see my baked chicken dinner that I did with mashed potatoes, and I made homemade gravy. Well, we have these mashed potatoes left and we're not throwing anything out. Nothing goes to waste. And so I have about 2 cups. And if you have a little bit more than 2 cups, like say if you have about 3 cups of mashed potatoes to up to 4 cups of mashed potatoes, you're going to want to use 2 eggs. So with about 2 cups to 2.5 cups, 1 egg is fine. So I put 1 large egg, and then to that I'm also going to add some garlic powder. Garlic powder can be a really robust seasoning, and so a little bit goes a long way. So this is about 1/8 of a teaspoon. So about 1/8 of a teaspoon, no more than 1/4 of a teaspoon usually works fine. I'm also going to put in some black pepper. Now my mashed potatoes are originally seasoned from when I made them for dinner, and I had seasoned them with salt and pepper, but I'm also going to just add a little bit more seasoning to make the potato pancakes. So with the black pepper, I put in also about 1/8 of a teaspoon, and 1/8 of a teaspoon is basically about a pinch to a couple pinches. Also the same thing with the salt. I'm going to put in a little bit more, just some regular table salt, about 1/8 of a teaspoon or so, just like a few pinches of that. And next I'm going to put in some flour, and this is regular all-purpose unbleached flour that I'm using, and this is 1/4 of a cup. Now, if you have closer to 3 cups of mashed potatoes that you're working with, you want to boost up your flour to 1/3 of a cup. Now, in the description box below, I will put that notation, so I'll have that in there for your reference, as well as the list of those ingredients. So after I put in my 1/4 a cup of flour, I'm going to put in some fresh green onion. I'm just going to use the green part of the onion. Now, if you are new to my channel, I want to welcome you in. And if you're a turner, I want to thank you for coming back. On my channel, I love to share different recipes and quick tips about how to make your baked goods or your meals that you're preparing for yourself and for your family come out just right. So if you enjoy that kind of content, I hope you consider subscribing. Now next I put in some grated cheese, and this was 1/2 cup of grated cheese. I'm using sharp cheese, but you can really in essence use whatever cheese that you have in your refrigerator that you like. Go ahead and use that. If you have some ingredients that you want to add in to your potato pancakes, definitely you can add in different kinds of cheeses. So 1/2 cup of cheese is what I'm using, and of course if I were to be using more mashed potatoes, I would up the amount of cheese that I'm putting in there. So once I mix everything around, and so far we have our leftover mashed potatoes, we have our 1 egg, we have our seasonings that we put in, and then you want it to look like this where it's starting to hold together. You don't want it loose, you want it to hold together, and you do want those mashed potatoes cold from the refrigerator. You don't want to warm them up prior to doing this because it's going to be hard for them to stay together. Now I'm using just a regular ice cream scooper. I'm going to scoop them into my hand. I'm going to flatten them into my hand, and we don't want them too thin, about 1/4 of an inch thin. And after I go back and forth, I see how it's sticky. We don't want them to be too sticky, and so I'm going to add a little bit more flour because we really want to make sure that our mashed potato pancakes, that they hold together. And I'm going to share with you another little trick that I like to do to make sure that they hold together, because I know sometimes when we go to flip them, things can go off the rail at that point. And sometimes when they're in the pan, in the oil cooking, they can just start to dissolve and spread on you, and you don't want that. We want them to hold their shape and to hold together. So total, I put in 1/4 cup of flour, plus I add that an additional 1 tablespoon of flour. Now this is my little secret that I like to do. I like to take just my shallow plate, and I put here some flour, and that was about 1/4 cup of flour. I'm going to use my ice cream scooper again, and we're going to, once I scoop up my potato mixture, I'm going to flatten them in my hand, and then we're going to gently, very gently, we're going to put them in a little dusting of flour. And when we do this, we want to use our nice clean hands, of course, but then also you see that I'm only working with my fingers and not my palm, because it's going to be easier for me to work with my fingers and have the potato pancakes on my fingers versus having them in the palm of my hand. It'll tend to stick more in the palm of your hand. So try to use your fingers more so. Then I just lay my potato pancake in the flour just to give it a nice little dusting of flour. This is going to help the pancake to hold its shape as we cook it in our hot oil. And so I repeat the process again and go ahead and scoop. And you want to work quickly. Today is actually a warm day. You want to work quickly when you're doing this, so you don't want your pancakes sitting out and getting, room temperature. And my eggs I used them cold out of the refrigerator. Normally I use my eggs at room temperature when I'm making my cakes and making batters, but for my potato pancakes I want to have everything cold, so my eggs were cold out of the refrigerator. And again, I just give them a nice light dusting of flour, and then I also just kind of dust off any excess flour. Now I've already started cooking one. I was cooking one earlier. My husband wanted one right away, so I made him one. My oil is still nice and hot, and I have it on a medium-high heat, and I'm using 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. So you just want to pan fry these. You don't want to use a lot of oil. About 3 to 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil is what you want to use. And you can also use canola oil. Canola oil will also work. And so I have them on a medium-high heat. I'm going to let them cook and become brown around the edges, and that's going to take about 3 minutes or so. I'm going to peek on them after maybe about 2 minutes just to kind of see, but you want them to get nice and like a really pretty golden brown on the bottom before you flip them. Also, when you flip your potato pancakes, you only want to flip them once. You don't want to flip them back and forth and back and forth. That'll make them tough. So you just want to flip them once. And in my potato pancakes and my mashed potato pancakes, I use my fresh green onion out of my garden. But you can also use dried chives. If you have dried chives, you can do dried chives. And you can also, if you don't have either of those on hand, you can use just about a tablespoon of fresh chopped onion. And you can use either yellow onion or white onion. You've got a little bit of onion, you can chop it up. And then also with the onion, you can leave it out if you don't have any of those varieties. And so I went on and I flipped my pancake. It is looking good. Oh my gosh, they're a beautiful golden brown. I'm going to finish flipping them and let them definitely cook for that 3 minutes to maybe about 4 minutes. You want them to get that nice beautiful color just like we have here. When my mashed potato pancakes are done cooking, I have my dish. You can use a cookie sheet or a casserole dish, and I line mine with some paper towels. And so as I take them out, I put them on that paper towel line tray so that way they can drain. And this recipe with the 2 cups of mashed potatoes, I usually get about 8 potato pancakes. Usually about 8 mashed potato pancakes I get from the 2 cups of mashed potatoes. As you're cooking your mashed potato pancakes, if your pan starts to run low on oil, you can always add another 1 to 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Let that vegetable oil that you add get hot and come up to temperature before you add any more of the potato pancake mixture in with the pan. Well, I'm going to finish these up and then I'm going to service up some. Well, our potato pancakes are all done. They are looking good. My husband already had one, so out of this batch, I ended up getting 9. So that was a bonus. Let's see here now. Oh my, you see right there, we got that cheese in there. I also, on my plate, I put some sour cream and the little bit of the green onion I had left. I went on and put some of the green onion on top. Go ahead and take your bite. Now I'm going to take my bite and see how we did. and these always come out so good. They're quick, they're easy to make. It's wonderful when you have that leftover mashed potato. You can go ahead and make something new with them. Also, if you like applesauce also is a nice little extra. When I do have mine with applesauce though, I leave the cheese out of the potato pancakes when I have the applesauce with them. Well, that is it for me today. I hope you give this recipe a try. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, don't forget to show it some love and give it a thumbs up. And click share and share this video with a friend or a family. And don't forget to click that notification bell so you can come back and visit me again in my kitchen. And remember, it's always good when Dyvonne is cooking for the family. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.